Hello everyone, it's Morgana here. Welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to paint a beautiful rose using only two colours. That's it. That's all you're going to need today, two colours. You're going to need gamboge yellow and sap green. As you can see, I'm beginning with a pre-drawn pencil outline. This is my own sketch. All my pencil drawings are my own sketches. I don't show them here because, quite frankly, it takes me a long time. I'm not the most proficient or quickest sketcher, and I thought I'd save you the pain of having to watch me draw for hours on end. But if anybody is interested in my sketches, I will soon be making my outlines available for download on Patreon. I'm going to be setting up a Patreon page, so if that's something you'd be interested in, then please watch this space. And now to get on with the actual painting. You can see I've started with the yellow. Again, this is gamboge yellow here. I've chosen this because it's such a versatile colour. You can see I'm already getting so many tones out of it. Just starting with the outer layer of petals here. Starting very pale wash. You can see here I've taken paint straight from the pan to get this wonderful deep shade. This is almost an orangey yellow really here, isn't it? And just pulling that colour out, diluting it down a little bit just by pulling it further and further. This is the wonderful thing about watercolour, is you can pull and push the paint around. As long as your surface is wet enough, you can push it around and get it to flow where you want it. You can see here I've already got a few lovely different shades. Again, going in, first step, pale wash, and then once that's done, decide where you need the darks. I'm going to be putting most of my darks on the sort of inner edge of the petal. From the reference photos of roses that I've looked at, that seems to be generally where you get the stronger colour, closer to the centre of the rose, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm going to be putting heavier layers of my paint, and I'm going to be pulling my pale washes towards the outer layers of the petal. You can see here, just going over where the paint is still wet, pulling a little line of dark colour down. You can see there, those gentle lines being pulled out at a slight curve, mimicking the curve of the petal as it curls downwards and outwards from the centre of the flower. So just going around the outside, working my way inward. I'm not showing you every single petal because, quite honestly, I think you'd fall asleep. But you can see here I've just been doing exactly the same principle, just going around using exactly the same paint, layer by layer, petal by petal, alternating between lights and darks. You can see how the lovely tonal colour is building up with every petal and with every layer of paint. You can see here that I'm also using my yellow colour to create some shadows using a stronger concentration, just doing small lines around under the outline of some petals. You can see it just on the top right there, and just under the centre part that I've not yet painted, you can see what looks like some shadows. I've created the illusion of shadows just using a darker and stronger shade of paint. Obviously, if you are using other colours, you could do this with another shade. I would probably recommend a violet or a purple in like a low concentration to put shadows on yellow. But we're not doing that today. That's the challenge. 2 paints, 1 rose. There we are. Centre rose done. Let's move on to the next. So you can see I'm going in to this large petal with exactly the same technique. Doing paler colour at the top, slightly stronger colour at the bottom, starting off with quite a pale, quite a gentle yellow, and I'm just going to work that in and slowly build up the colour where I want it. So here you can see I started work on the 3rd rose, from exactly the same again. Oh yes, and apologies again if you could see a little. As I switched there, the light has changed. I'm painting in electric light now, sadly. I always try and paint in daylight because it's brighter, it's better, you can see the true colours more. But yes, I ran out of daylight, probably about 7, 8-ish p.m. here in the UK. Can't remember exactly. I must say I wasn't really paying attention to the time, more just cursing the fading daylight as I painted. But yes, so if this doesn't look as good, then I can only apologise. Maybe I'll start earlier in the day next time. But yes, as you can see, exactly the same technique, just going around all the petals, varying between pale wash and a more intense, stronger colour, and just going around and making sure each one is dry before I start on the next one, obviously, so I don't get too much sort of colour bleed. And yeah, just getting those lovely wet on wet blends, a little careful few shades and lines here and there. And that's it for the yellow. Starting on the green. Now this is sap green that I'm using. I'm afraid, I am sorry, you can't see it as well in this electric light. I do apologise. The camera doesn't seem to have picked it up as well as I'd hoped. But this is a really lovely green. It's lovely and vibrant, and it has more of a yellow tone than a blue tone to it. So I do tend to use it quite a lot. for leaves and stems and just anything really green that needs to be done in botanical drawings and paintings. You can see I'm just going in and with a sort of a mid-colour. You know, this is not heavily diluted, but it's not very strong either. Just going around and I'm starting to fill in the rose leaves. I'm leaving the undersides a little paler and doing the top sides a little darker. And I'm going to go back in and I'm going to draw in the veins on the leaves once they've dried a wee bit. You can see I'm using a flat brush here. Been using a flat brush for most of it, as I do for almost all of my drawings and paintings. Anyone who watches this channel regularly will know that I do love my flat brushes. So don't be surprised, you will see this again. And there we are, just using the round brush now, deepening down those veins, just putting them in there, just giving a little bit of extra texture and life to the leaves. Make sure when you're doing the veins on a leaf that you get them pointing the right way. All leaves are different. The majority will sort of spread upwards towards the tip of the leaf, but some go at different angles and some go, quite frankly, all over the place. So it is always best to check. Exactly the same technique that I've just shown you to do the rest of these leaves here. I cut out a portion of my painting because quite honestly it's just very repetitive. It's me doing exactly the same thing. You can see the lights on the underside of the leaves and the dark tones I've put on the outside. You can see I've done the veins. This is all done with the same paint. This is sap green, just in many forms. And you can see I'm just using this fine detail brush here, this round brush, to just finish off. I'm doing the little leaf bits beneath the rose head there. Not quite sure what these bits are called, you know, quite honestly. Any biologists out there could tell me? I guess they're not sort of true leaves. They're the parts that sort of peel back when the flower blooms. Whatever they are, they're very pretty. And here we are, just filling in the final details. Little yellow tip on this rosebud here. In this light it looks rather like a leaf, but I assure you this is a rosebud. And now, just with the fine detail brush again, and I'm using, of course, sap green, but quite concentrated, just doing a few little extra lines and dots here and there, little age marks, little freckles on some of these leaves. Just thinning in those veins there as well. This is the fine detail phase, just the last phase. Again, if you were using another colour, I would suggest maybe something like a raw umber or a burnt sienna, perhaps a little brown, to add a little colour and texture here, filling in those age spots, maybe adding in a little bit of insect damage for authenticity. Just that's what I did on my roses. But yeah, the challenge is to use two colours, so that's what I'm doing. And I think it works really well. And there we are, the finished piece. Yep, happy with that. Now to let it dry and commence filming in daylight. Here we are. So this is in daylight. You can see those lovely vibrant yellows. You can see the grain of the paper. You can see the lovely green. I'm really happy with how this has come out. I really enjoyed the challenge of doing a painting using only two colours, exploring the various tones and shades that you can get from these paints. Really impressed with these. So yeah, that's all from me. That's the finished painting. I hope you enjoyed, everybody. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And as always, happy painting!